Hey guys, welcome to another Mind Right Monday. This week we're coming at you with how to deal when other people make bad decisions that affect you. Hey guys, welcome to another Mind Right Monday. This week we are answering one question that a lot of our viewers come and ask us often. However, we've got a great question we want to read from you from a viewer named Candy. How does one react when others' choices are affecting another person? For example, it's my choice to be late. Okay, well, now this behavior is having a trickle effect on everybody else, and yet the person who is late is okay with their choice to being late. This is a great question, Candy, and in fact, it's one that we get often. That's why we decided to do this video just for you. So how do we deal with this? Because you always hear me say that it's your choice. It's your choice to be late or to be on time. Well, how do you deal when other people intentionally say, well, it's my choice to be late and I want to be late, so screw it. And when they have that attitude and it begins to have that trickle-down effect that is affecting others, how do you deal with that? Well, that's actually really challenging because when you're dealing with other people, they're making decisions based on their values. And so it really kind of boils down to doing our best to be able to navigate this situation, try to see if there's a compromise that we can come to where everyone is in agreement of the situation, or we have to make one of two different tough choices that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. Here is where I suggest you start. Number one is to release the judgment. Yeah, releasing the judgment, that's a little bit difficult, especially because if you're emotionally being affected, but it's important. We have to remove our judgment of who we think this person should be, how they should act, and what they should be doing. Now, you hear me shoulding all over the place, and if you remember from one of our former videos, I talk about shoulding all over, and I say when you're doing it, it's starting to stink. You need to be cautious of shoulding all over the place. Well, the reason for that is because when we're using shoulds, it's a form of shaming, and we're shaming the other person for their choices. Now, again, their choices are affecting others, but we want to begin by removing the judgment and giving the person the benefit of the doubt first. Reason for it is because a lot of time people don't recognize that their decision really has that big of a cost, that it really is affecting others that much. There might be an assumption that they feel like, this is okay, or it's no big deal. And so we have to really give them the benefit of the doubt first, and the only way to do that is to remove our judgment. All right, that leads me to the second thing, which is you need to get yourself into emotional neutral. So emotional neutrality means that you have to just, again, remove and release any of the emotion that you have before confronting this person. Otherwise, if you don't process through your emotions, what you're going to do is emotionally vomit all over that person with your frustration, your anger, and being upset. And that typically isn't going to get you what you want, which is maybe to come to an agreement of that person either respecting or honoring your time. Okay, so that leads me to my third thing, which is now you need to set boundaries. Whew, this is a big topic. And when we assert boundaries, typically we do it with a lot of emotion, we make it a command, and it's a form of an attack. Cat. This is what catnip does. Setting boundaries is something many of us struggle with. In fact, it's one of the big things that also causes the most conflict and creates the most controversy. So it's also something that most likely many of us avoid. But setting boundaries and learning healthy, happy tips and doing so is important for you to be able to deal with this situation, especially, again, with other personalities. So here's my rules for boundaries, and they is a clear, kind, unemotional request versus command. So again, number one and number two, removing the judgment and processing through the emotion. Well, these are going to be that putting yourself into that neutral place and removing all the emotional biasness that you have towards the situation or this person's behavior. Once you remove that, it allows you to clearly advocate for what it is that you feel is important. So you want to clear and kind. Now that kind goes back to me referring to you giving the benefit of the doubt. It's important that you recognize that this person might not be trying to do this on purpose. And in fact, that they might not want to be disrespecting you. Now, if they are, I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but for right now, let's just give this person the benefit of the doubt. So the last part about that healthy boundary is that request versus a command. Now, typically when we assert a boundary, it's a command. It is stop it. Why are you doing this? Quit being so late. Why are you disrespecting everybody by not showing up on time? So those commands are attacks, and it's going to not get you what you want because all you're going to get is an emotional response back from that person. So we want to make it a request, and so you want to clearly, kindly, unemotionally make a request, and it could be as simple as this. Hey, I'm sure you don't mean to disrespect everyone when you do this. However, it is really important that we all try to show up at this particular time. If that time isn't working for you, is there a better time that you think we could all work around? That's one way. It could be, and formulate the question any way you want, but it's just got to be a clear, kind request and saying like, hey, I'm sure that you're not trying to do this on purpose. However, it feels really disrespectful when you do this. Would you be willing to help me find a solution? So when you pose it like that, you might get a really positive, constructive response, or not. So the reason why I say or not is because we start here. Okay, we start in this place of giving people the benefit of the doubt. Now, if that person just wants to be a meaning that he or she doesn't care about anyone else's values or needs, right? Now we need to communicate consequences. And when we communicate consequences, say, okay, are you willing to participate in finding a solution? If that person's like, no. Now what we need to do is say, okay, well, maybe they get fired, or maybe I need to report you, or maybe we're going to start the meeting without you, or maybe whatever. And so by doing that, we begin to communicate, okay, that this is going to happen as a result of your behavior, your choice. And then you need to stand firm with that decision. And the other part of this too, I want to make sure to mention here, is that if they go route number 2, and let's say you're forced to work with them, what's more important is your emotional and mental stability. So if that's the case, then you may want to look at how you can begin to kind of accept this person for their shortcomings and really not take it so personal. So that way you can work with them where their decisions and behaviors aren't emotionally affecting or triggering you. I know that second part isn't necessarily ideal because you're really coping with their crappy behavior. However, again, it's ultimately how you feel that matters. All right, so this leads me to this week's tweetable, which is, asserting boundaries helps others understand how to honor you and your values. All right, hopefully this video has helped you, Candy, and everyone else who might have had that same question. If you have a personal development question, email us at getinspired@bonniekelly.me, and we'd love to hear what you think. So don't forget to comment, and also don't forget to share, tweet, follow, fan us on all social media platforms. We're here for you every step of the way. Until next time, I'm Bonnie Kelly.